that's not going to affect you.
Right.
It's just not true.
Yeah.
Because every mortgage report is a hard inquiry.
That's right.
And it's going to lower your scores.
That's right. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So don't believe it. Don't believe it. Yeah, you can't go to 3 or 4 mortgage companies and then go to a car dealership. And that's another thing. Talk about the different types of credit and how that negatively affects or brings down your score.
There's a hard inquiry and a soft inquiry, right? So the hard inquiry is your mortgages, is your cars, is your credit cards. A soft one is if, as we talked about the credit monitoring system,
yes,
that is a soft inquiry. So it doesn't negatively affect your credit. So you can look at your credit all the time. It's not going to hurt it.
Right.
If you start applying for a credit card, a car, a mortgage, and you do this 5 or 6 times in a month, it's going to substantially lower your scores because each one of those is a hard inquiry.
And they're wondering, what are you doing?
Well, when you start doing that, people realize you're shopping people, which is okay. If your scores are 780 and it goes to 740, it's not a big deal.
Right.
But if you're at 720 and it goes to 660,
or 680 and it goes to 620,
or 640 and it's 615 because you're trying to get an FHA loan, it becomes an issue.
It becomes an issue. So protect your credit. I think that's the point we're making here. We're talking about the building blocks to sustaining or building good, strong credit. And I have Erik in here today with me, and I'm so happy to have you. You are a wealth of knowledge that we always welcome. So thank you for coming in. And it's THD Credit, right? Yes. And so I think everybody's at the point where they found their pens if they didn't have them before. So I'd love to have you give your contact information again. Sure.
The phone, the phone number is 800-822-7120, and my email address is kaperik@gmail.com.
Great. And you're listening to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. This is Miss Charlene. You can listen to us on Accelerated Radio, which is www.acceleratedradio.net/ARP. But you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And on our YouTube channel, just go to Lunch with the Finance Bunch and subscribe. We have all of our past shows there, so you can go back and watch at your convenience. And you'll have the one here with Erik. I'd suggest that you sit down with a pencil and pen and write notes. And, if you already have credit established, there'll be a wealth of knowledge here for you. If you're just establishing your credit, it's great. And if you need to get out of debt or you need to get some things straight on your credit, this is a wealth of knowledge. I suggest you give him a call and have him work with you to get to where you want to be with your credit score, because it's not, you haven't lost hope. When people have a lot of credit debt, I was speaking to someone and she was saying, I have great credit, but I have so much debt. I just need to get out of it. So that suggestion to make an additional payment in the middle of the month, if you can, as long as it's in the same pay period of your credit card, that it'll reduce the principal, is an excellent suggestion. That way you're knocking down that balance, that principal balance you have, and hopefully you won't get into that situation again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I say thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I have another question for you. We got lots of questions. If I have too many credit cards, will closing some of them help my credit score?
Well, closing a credit card is never going to help your credit score.
Okay.
When people ask me this question, I say don't close anything.
Yes.
I just say charge $50 on it and pay it off.
Right.
They say, well, there's a yearly fee of $17.
Mm-hmm.
I say, just pay the $17 and just keep the card open, because unless you have 10 cards, 7 cards, you want to close it, but it's not going to help your credit. It will actually negatively impact your credit in the beginning.
Right.
But over time, it'll raise it back up.
Right. So closing credit cards, unless there is a reason for closing the card, should not be done.
I would not do that.
Just take it to a zero balance and use it sparingly.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes good sense. That was I had a lot of people ask me that one. Should I close? And I get that question all the time.
Yeah, I get that question all the time too.
Yeah,
I mean, I would never suggest it, just because, if they're most people close the cards so they don't use it.
Right.
But the credit card companies, if you don't use it for a period of time, they're going to close it anyway. And you don't even get the benefit of using that card. If you don't use a card for 3 months, each month it's not showing on it. That monthly payment is not being made.
That's right.
So it's not even helping your credit.
That's right. That's right. And that's another thing people don't understand. And that's something else we need to talk about, Erik. If you have credit cards and you don't use them over a period of time, you're not establishing or keeping your credit going, are you?
No. If you don't use a credit card or don't have a balance on a credit card, you're not getting the benefit of that credit card.
Wow.
So, if your interest rate is 8% or 15%, you keep a small balance on it. It's not a bad thing, but I suggest instead of keeping a balance on it, just go out and use $50 on a gas or $10, whatever it is.
Right.
Just use it and pay it off, and then use it and pay it off. That way, you're getting the benefit of using that card.
Okay. That's another good nugget, because some people think that, oh, I have credit cards, but I never use them. Well, you're not getting the benefit of those cards either.
And then a lot of people, when they say, I have all these credit cards and my credit scores aren't going up, well, the reason why your credit scores aren't going up is because you're not using your credit cards.
Right. So it's better. It's not just enough to have them in your wallet. You have to use them so that your credit continues to improve.
And you don't have to use them, you don't have to charge them up to 50%. You can charge them up 2% and just pay it off.
Just pay it off.
Yes.
Good information. Okay, what other questions do we have for Erik while we have him here? Yes. Oh, we asked this earlier. Am I liable for my spouse's debt? We kind of talked about merging of credit, but we didn't talk about that. Is a person responsible for their spouse's debt?
If they're joint on the account, yes.
Okay.
In the state of California, I don't know other states what their laws are, but in the state of California, if you have a medical debt, your spouse is actually liable for your medical debt.
Wow.
So if it goes on your credit report, it can actually go on his or her credit report if it's not paid.
Really?
Yeah. And so in credit cards or cars or mortgages, if you're joint, each of you are liable. If you're not joint, then you're not liable.
Okay, so if he bought a house and it's on his credit report and we get married, I'm not liable for that.
You're not liable for if you're
that
on
debt.
the deed.
If I'm on the deed.
If you're on the deed of the home, you're liable for the home, right?
Right.
But you're not liable for if
the
it
debt
goes late,
on the
it's not going to show up on your credit report.
Right.
You're liable for the debt. But if the late payment shows up on your credit report, it's not going to show up on your credit report.
Okay, but I am liable for the debt.
Well, I think because you're 50-50
because I'm
on the
50-50 on the house. So if I'm 50-50 on the house in a good way, I'm 50-50 on it in any bad way. I got that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Okay. So you are responsible for your spouse's debt.
If you're joint. Yes.
Not if the debt was done separately.
Correct. As we spoke about earlier, if you come to the marriage, or if one brings one credit card and one brings the other, not joint, you're not liable for it.
Okay. But all the joint cards, ladies and gentlemen, you are responsible for that other person. So make sure you are careful in how you join your debt. Make sure, because at the end of the day, you're going to be held responsible.
Yes.
Wow. Good stuff. This is a question that came up. What is check systems, and if the person is in it, can they get out?
So check systems is if you wrote a bad check, or you went. It has to do with a bank.
Okay.
Your checking account or savings account.
Okay.
So a lot of people, when they try to open up a checking account, they may be in check systems because they may have bounced a check, they may have, overdue balance, whatever it may be. You just have problems getting a checking account. So there's ways to get. We help getting people out of check systems.
Oh.
And there's ways to do that.
Okay.
So if you have trouble opening a bank account, there's a reason why.
Okay.
And we can actually help fix that.
Oh, okay. So if you have a hard time opening a bank account and you may and may not understand why, give Erik a call because he can help you with that, because that means you're in check systems.
They'll let you know. A bank will let you know that you are in check systems.
Will they tell you why?
They won't tell you why.
Okay.
Well, that's not true. Some will, some won't. But you can actually, there's a way to get a copy of your check systems report.
Oh, okay.
So they can send it to you so you can figure out what the issue is.
I've never heard of that. Okay. Wow, that's new on me. So there's a check systems. I know that the bank has their own system of regulating when, you close an account and it's it's
overdrawn.
You overdrawn, or if someone bites a bad check and they never make good on it and the bank pays the check or something like that. I know that they have some kind of system, but I didn't know what it was exactly. So I know check systems, but I don't know how it works. So that's
the
wow.
What it is that there's ways to get out of it.
Okay.
And there's ways to go open up another bank account. So, I've seen this lately in the last 6-7 months. More people have come to us with the check systems issue. Yes.
Wow, that's good to know. That's good stuff. Okay, more questions. This is good. Can business credit affect your personal credit? That's a great question.
So, a lot of people that have business credit, they may have a business credit card under their business credit, but not under their personal credit.
Okay.
So a good example is American Express. A lot of people have American Express under their business, and doesn't show up on their personal credit.
Right.
But let's say they default on the business credit card. That business credit card can actually be reported as a negative to your personal credit.
Okay.
So if you default on a business credit card, it will show up negatively on your personal credit.
Wow. So they are linked.
They're linked. You don't get the good history,
but you get the bad. That's what I mean.
Yes.
So you don't get the good benefit of it in your credit, but you will if you default on that business account. It will show up on your personal.
It will.
So be careful. Don't think because you opened up a business credit card and you ran that up to the max and didn't pay it, that it's not going to show up on your personal account, because it will.
It doesn't always. It's not 100% that it's going to show up, but I would say.
But the likelihood is majority
yes.
will happen.
Yes.
That's interesting. Wow. This is Lunch with the Finance Bunch. I'm Miss Charlene. And again, we're learning so much from Erik. And I want to thank you again for coming in. Erik is with THD Credit. And he's here today, talking to us live on the air about credit. But he's also going to be doing a class with me tomorrow on one of hopefully many classes that we'll do together. And so if you don't get to partake in our class tomorrow, let us know. And we will definitely make sure that the next time Erik is available to do a class for us, we'll sign you up. And I'm Miss Charlene, Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and subscribe so that you can watch prior issues of it. And then you can also let me know what you think, things you want to hear about. Erik's one of our favorites. We've gotten a lot of inquiries about, Erik, you coming back and being a part of the show, and, just being able to understand our credit and understand what's going on with it is just amazing, and so if someone can look at their YouTube and kind of learn something without having to expose themselves publicly, that's great. So thank you.
I'm glad, happy to help.
So what are y'all, I know you got a big day planned, so I know we can't keep you here forever, but I'm going to hold on to you as long as I can. So what other questions do we have for Erik? When you establish credit and you have a medical challenge and that winds up on your credit, what can you do with medical challenges to help get those off your credit if possible?
I would, I would start by calling the collection agency, and it depends how, sometimes they're pretty substantial bills.
Right.
Because if you don't have insurance and it shows up on your credit report, it could be thousands of dollars.
Right.
A lot of the times, medical will not negotiate. They will not settle. And there's a reason why, because they don't buy the debt. They don't purchase the debt from a hospital.
That's right.
Right? They're just collecting for the doctor or the hospital.
Right.
So I would suggest trying to get on a payment plan and ask them, if I pay this in full, can you delete this from my credit report?
Okay.
And, if hopefully you can get to a collection agency before they report it to your credit bureau, because they do send a letter out.
Okay.
And you have 30 days before it actually posts your credit.
Okay.
So if you get that letter, I wouldn't throw it away.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah, I would not ignore it. I would actually call them, and I would see if you could set up a payment plan.
Okay.
Some companies, unfortunately, they're not very nice to deal with, and they're going to tell you, sorry, it's going to show up on your credit report, pay this in full. But, if you don't have the ability to do so, then I would try to set up some sort of payment plan with them, asking them if it can be deleted from their credit report.
Okay. Now, does it help if you get in and negotiate for them? Because sometimes people are intimidated, in talking to credit companies, and, how that can be intimidating.
It helps. I mean, because you personalize. I mean,
right.
I'm a third party, so it doesn't, I don't have the personal.
You're not personally offended.
Exactly. I would say that I can help, but there's not with medical. There's not a lot of negotiation in the amount that you can settle for.
Okay.
Credit card debt, collection accounts, repossessions, you can settle those for 30, 40 cents on the dollar. But
really?
Medical is something that I could help, but I deal with them all the time. It's just something that you're not going to get a substantial amount of deduction off the amount you owe.
Right. Okay. So medical is almost non-negotiable. Call and see if you can get them to at least make payment arrangements with you, but call them, like you said, as soon as possible within that 30 days so that you can at least see if they'll negotiate with you.
Yes.
Right. And then student debt. I know you don't do student loans.
Well, student loans, you can't really, if it's a government-backed loan, you're not going to be able to negotiate it. You're going to have to, what there is called a rehabilitation program.
Okay.
And a rehabilitation program, if you make payments on your loan that's defaulted for 6 to 9 months, they'll actually take all the negative reporting on your credit report and make it a positive.
Whoa. Okay, wait, that's a big one. Let's start all over again. Let's rewind. So